There, joining us now, Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman of New York, who had filed the ethics complaint against Santos. Congressman, good morning. It's good to see you. So Santos calling this a smear. It's a pretty detailed smear full of facts and information. What's your reaction to this 96-page report? I mean, the lies and the violations within it are too long for us to detail here, but what did you see in there? And do you believe that he actually will step down, or will he wait till the next campaign?
Well, Willie, it's truly a remarkable insight into the psyche of someone who clearly is a criminal wannabe mastermind. And I say wannabe because this scheme is so brazen and obvious that it would fool no one. When Congressman Richie Torres and I filed our complaint back in January, we did it based on what seemed to be some glaring omissions and lies on the face of his campaign finance disclosures. And I think I certainly expected that there would be a lot of illegal campaign finance activity. What I did not expect is that in addition to illegal campaign finance activity, that he was just embezzling money from his campaign for his own personal use. It's one thing to deceive the voters in order to get elected. It's altogether something different to do that and also steal money for his own personal use. So it is as brazen or more than I certainly expected. And George Santos will not be in Congress for very long, one way or another.
So, Jackie, Republicans have had sort of a hands-off approach to this for quite some time. Doesn't seem like that anymore, right?
No, this is something that they've kicked the can down the road on since he entered office, and people knew right away that there were major issues with him. Kevin McCarthy especially completely ignored the issue because of just how slim of a majority there is, and Santos's district is not surefire Republican. But it seems like once Michael Guest introduces, he's the co-chair of the Ethics Committee, and he's set to introduce the resolution, the privilege resolution to expel Santos today, that when they come back from recess after Thanksgiving, that most Republicans who had initially said we need to at least just wait for the ethics report to make this decision are going to ultimately expel him, which is going to trigger a special election, and we'll see what happens from there.
That'll be fascinating, just to get a sort of a feel for the district, those special elections before a bigger election down the road. I always remember in 2009, the open Senate seat for Kennedy. And, the shock that produced and showed us that the Tea Partiers were going to sweep in 2010. So the Republicans, you start adding everything up, and Santos, and you add up the craziness of the McCarthy vote, the crazies that basically held the House, the People's House, sort of in check for 3 weeks or so. And then Johnson coming in. It's just absolute chaos. And I'm a big believer. People think in the age of Trump, or used to think in the age of Trump, that political gravity no longer existed. That they were like Tom Hanks in the airplane and for Apollo 13 filming when it did that, and they got to float around for a couple of seconds. And that's where we were during the Trump era. Now the plane's hurtling back to Earth. Boom, boom, boom. They're all throwing up now. It's a long way to say political gravity is returning to the Republican Party. And I just wonder how much they're going to pay for all of this craziness.
It doesn't help. I mean, this is so fully emblematic of the Trump era in some ways. I mean, yes, I mean, we're used to a certain degree of chaos in Congress. I mean, we've seen chaotic situations in Congress for a very, very long time. The fact is, this has been such a joke of a majority. I mean, it's been a year now. You only get 2 years in the majority. And
well, what did Chip Roy say about the majority?
Well, he said, he was talking, Chip Roy, I mean, that will be replayed many, many times. Chip Roy was talking specifically about the fact that Republicans have nothing to show for what they've done. And he has nothing to campaign on. He made it personal. He said it quite eloquently. He said it in a way that I'm sure Democrats...
He said it in a 30-second clip.
Yes,
like
Democrats
can easily be turned into the ad.
To Democrats. But the fact is, like, you're right. I mean, between the original speaker thing, the second speaker thing, the debt ceiling. I mean, it's been one thing after another. And Santos is in some ways a joke, but it's also completely emblematic of what this Congress has been.
And yet, look what he's wearing right now. Who would call that a joke? Okay, they always go off of the suit at the wrong time. TJ, we need to. There we go.
There you go.
America asks, what the hell is he wearing? I don't know. Anyway, Jonathan O'Meara, I do want to say, and go back to the congressman on this, or on Santos, or on what he's wearing, or on the Sephora deal.
That was worth every penny.
That really was. It was great. By the way,
happy they could do that.
Oh, no doubt about it. But let's talk about Chip Roy for 1 second, because I've always believed there are parallels between Harry Truman and Joe Biden. You look foreign policy, what they've done in Europe, it's pretty extraordinary. But Truman was supposed to lose. Everybody said he was sunk, even up until election night. What did he do? He started railing against the do-nothing Republicans. And I swear nobody has said that more eloquently this year for Joe Biden than Chip Roy. Let's take a listen to Chip and get the congressman's response.
What are my Republican colleagues doing? They are all too happy to have this vote go down today and get on their airplanes and go home for turkey at Thanksgiving. Why aren't we putting another bill on the floor of the House right now and sending it over to the Senate to shove it down their throats, to say that we Republicans stand for cutting spending? We Republicans stand for standing with Israel. We Republicans stand for securing the border of the United States. No. Let's just go back and go raise some money so we can do more fundraisers, so we can then try to get elected, so we can come back here and offer more excuses for why we don't get the job done. One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done besides, well, I guess it's not as bad as the Democrats.
Congressman, you'll have to trim out that last line there for the campaign ad. But he certainly expresses frustration of some of his Republican colleagues, and he's created an advertisement for Democrats saying, look, they haven't done anything except more chaos. So weigh in on what your GOP colleague said there, but also let's pivot forward just a little, because some of the things he said didn't get done. Border security, Israel. I'll add Ukraine to that. None of that is in the CR that kept the government opening. Their fate's unclear. And right now, the House of Representatives has let down some American allies. That's the case the White House and others are making.
And it's absolutely right. I mean, there's no question that Congressman Roy said it as well as any Democrat could say it, because for 11 months, the House Republicans have done nothing, absolutely nothing to help the American people. And what is remarkable, even though about Chip Roy saying that, is that he and his extreme MAGA right wing of the party does not seem to understand that you can't just jam things down the Senate in divided government. And the House Republicans can't even pass their own bills. They can't agree amongst themselves how to pass any meaningful legislation that has any chance of passing, and they refuse to work with House Democrats. We have not had no bipartisanship, no effort to put together some sort of legislation that can actually help the American people, that can secure the border. And trust me, we are ready to have this conversation. The president is ready, but it has to be legislation. It cannot be the administration. And they want to try to use all of these different issues for purely political, partisan reasons to get reelected, not to actually pass legislation to help the American people. And so they don't understand how this government works, that in order to get something into law, you can't just jam it down a Democratic Senate and a Democratic White House.
Yeah. Democratic member of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Dan Goldman, thank you so much. I'd say it's a clown show, but
thanks for having me.
That's an insult to clowns, circuses, fairs, and horror movies across America, isn't it?